What is going on, guys? We're going to be talking about habit development for a busy mom. So I got a couple of points here. Super excited. I'm just going to pull up my phone here just to have all the comments available. So if you guys have any questions, anything you guys want to dive into, feel free to let me know. Let me just pull it up here real quick. Alrighty. Perfect. Okay, awesome. Got Rex, got Rebecca. Okay. So everybody that's joining, put any comments, things you want to dive into a little bit further, more than happy to dive into it. So we're just going to, let's just hop right in. So there's this analogy that I'm going to start off with, where imagine if you had a friend of yours. So I was like, hey, tomorrow morning, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go work out. They don't pick you up. You're like, okay, maybe something happened. Then they do that 3 or 4 more times. You're going to be like, screw that person. I'm not going to trust that person. I'm not going to rely on that person, right? And then flip that onto yourself, where like every time that you tell yourself that you're going to work out or you're going to eat healthy, and then you're like, oh, next week I'm going to be it's going to be less crazy. I'm going to get on it. It never really ends up happening. You're really inconsistent with it. What starts to happen is you actually start to lose trust with yourself. You actually start to lose confidence with your ability to even be able to do it in the first place. Because I'm sure a lot of you have had those weeks where you're crushing it for like 1 week, 2 weeks, even like a month or two, and everything's going really well. You're super motivated, and like you're almost at this high where everything's going really well, but you can't keep it up. It's not something that's going to be sustainable. It's not something that's going to be realistic. Sophie, Danielle, Caitlin, Jesse, what's going on, guys? Nice to see everybody. So yeah, back to what I was mentioning. For those of you who are joining, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. But yeah, when you have those weeks, when you're freaking killing it, those months where you're freaking killing it, but then you get busy, you go on vacation, things get crazy busy. Like, God forbid somebody passes away in your family or just something bad happens where it puts you in a really bad headspace. Bring that same level of performance while that's happening. That's not going to be realistic. That's not going to happen. As a mom, for a lot of you guys, it's the Fit Mom Squad. I know there's some other women that aren't moms in here, but like a lot of you guys are overextenders. You like to show up 110% for everybody else, with which leaves little bandwidth and energy left for yourselves. So showing up 100% for 110% for yourself consistently won't be realistic or sustainable, especially considering like habitually you guys have just put your priorities last. You put yourselves on the back burner, and there's going to be a few keys that we teach our clients to develop long-term habits around their health and fitness to keep results and continue on their journey to have sustainable results. Lois, Christiana, Sarah, what's going on, guys? So first tip is going to be keep it simple, silly, or like a KISS. So you need to make it digestible when you're initially going into it. So for example, when you start your nutrition journey, instead of just trying to immediately hit all your macronutrients and your protein and your fats and your carbs and trying to be in a deficit every single day, I would start with small steps to start building trust and confidence with yourself that you can follow through with it and show up. So like, for example, like I would start by maybe prepping some healthy snacks the day before for the next day, making sure you have more protein daily, or what we have a lot of our clients do is not even have any nutritional changes, but just tracking their food to create awareness and make better decisions. Like we just have them track their food for 1 to 2 weeks, and just by seeing what they're consuming and what they're putting into their body, it creates so much awareness on if they're under eating throughout the day, if they're barely eating any protein, or that they ate a bunch of shit. And then that creates a bunch of awareness, being like, oh, I didn't realize I was eating so much food, because out of sight, out of mind, or ignorance is bliss, which is not the case in this case. By just creating that awareness, like for example, I've had clients where they're killing it, everything's going really well, and then they want to apply that same principle going into their vacation. And I'm just like, no, like let's treat it, which actually is going to be one of the points that we're going to be talking a little bit more about once we get a little bit more through this. But I told them just to focus on small habits. I'm like, if you're going into a vacation where you're going to like an all-inclusive resort, you're going to have a completely set of new patterns and routines. Focus on just tracking your food while you're there. Like you're going to be able to see what you're bringing into your body. You're going to decide if you want to have that piece of cake, or if you want to go for seconds, if you want to have that drink. And she ended up actually losing weight. She didn't hit her protein or her calories or her workouts every single day, but she created awareness just by tracking what she was bringing into her body. Because if you don't track it, it's just going to be like right over your head. You're going to just be guesstimating. It's like the equivalent of throwing spaghetti at a wall, hoping it's going to stick. But just that small step of just tracking your food, even when you're on vacation, when you're sick, like it just creates the habit of you just tracking it. And honestly, like it's really about building the habit and just showing up and doing it. You don't have to be doing it 110% for you to effectively build a habit. That's how you effectively burn yourself out and you fall off track. It's focusing on digestible small steps that keep it simple so you can follow through with it. Like the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, one of the things he talks about is you can never build from a habit that's not even established yet. You need to, or you can't optimize a habit that's not even established yet. He had a client that just hated working out, didn't want to go to the gym. And he's like, I want you to go to the gym every single day, but you're not allowed to go longer than 5 minutes. And the guy's like, of course I can do that. Like, it's only 5 minutes. And then he went every single day because he went into the energy, like the of course energy. Of course I can do that. If you go into something being like, yeah, of course I can do that, you take action. You don't even think about it. And if you can go into your nutrition, you can go into your workouts, you can go into your health journey, having that first step of being like, of course I can do that. That's the step that you need to start with. Like, if you don't have that of course energy and you're like, or you're like all over the place, you're like, I don't really know what to do. Like, there's so many things that I have to do. It creates this anxiety and this stress. That's not the first step. Like, focus on whatever that first step is, moving in the right direction. Like, there's another analogy. I'm a big analogy person, where there's this man and his horse trying to get to this castle. And they have to go through these deep, dark woods to get to this castle. They get in the middle of the deep, dark woods. The guy just shuts down. He's like, I don't know where to go. There's all these different paths. Like, I'm not really sure what to do. And the horse looks at him and is like, well, can you see your next step? And he's like, yeah, no, I can see my next step. He's like, okay, take that one, then take the next one, then take the next one. And that's the exact same way that I would approach it. Like, start prepping your snacks a little bit, then start prepping for a full day, then prepping for 2 days, then 3 days, then maybe a full week, depending on the kind of person that you are. Like, sometimes prepping for the entire week can be a little bit daunting, even if you're in the advanced stages. But it's focusing on incremental steps and then slowly building your way up. That's how you build more long-term habits. And I would do the same thing with your workouts. Like, I would apply the same principle, focus on habit development, not showing up effectively all the time. Showing up 110% isn't going to be realistic when you're busy, when you go on vacation. Like, focus on doing a 10-minute workout, a 20-minute workout. 20 minutes is 1% of your day. So, like, if you can't fit in 20-minute workouts because you don't prioritize it. So make sure that, like, you're looking at it from that perspective. It's only 1%. Schedule some time in your schedule that's a non-negotiable. Do it first thing in the morning so you can get it out of the way, and like focus on just showing up. Like, you brush your teeth when you're sick, when you're on vacation. It's only 3 to 5 minutes, but it's routine. You do it on a regular basis. You're not brushing your teeth for a full hour to be able to build the habit of brushing your teeth. I would apply that to the same way with all these other things. And if you want to really get your habits down, like James Clear, Atomic Habits, definitely read the book. Or he has a master class. I'm more of a visual learner. I personally hate reading books, or you can listen to the audiobook. But he has a master class where it's only an hour and a half, and he goes through all the main points that you want to take into account. Stage two. Oh, we got Victoria, Tia, Holly. What's going on, guys? So stage two, you have different habits and patterns associated with other areas of your life. Like I was just talking about, like when you get sick, you go on vacation, or you get crazy busy, you turn to different habits and routines. You can't just approach it the same way that you were doing it while everything was lined up and you were motivated. That's going to overwhelm you, and it's going to cause you to shut down. Because like if you're just going like you're super crazy busy, you have extra shifts, you get sick, and you're like really run down, like trying to still work out an hour every single day, 5 days, or like every single day, or like 5 days a week, that's going to feel like a lot. Like I would focus on small steps, like we just talked about. With a lot of our clients, we tell them the exact same thing. Don't go into it all gung-ho, telling yourself that you're going to hit everything. Treat it like a brand new habit. Just focus on just tracking your food and prioritizing protein. And for the workouts, focus on just 10-minute workouts. Like, it's one of those things where you have completely new routines and patterns associated with like going on vacation. Like the way that you approach it when like you're in your house and your typical routine, you got all your groceries, and like you're going to work at the same time, 9 to 5. Like you got routines and like patterns and habits that are associated with that. You go to vacation where like you're allowed to sleep in whenever you want to. You don't really know where the grocery stores are. You're kind of like all over the place. And like we have vacation mode where we literally just eat whatever we want. We kind of do whatever we want. Like we let the vacation control us versus controlling the vacation. Because as soon as we try and control the vacation, it becomes overwhelming. It becomes not enjoyable. So that's why it's important to start small. Like go on your next vacation, track your food. Then the following vacation, maybe track your food, then hit your protein. Then the following vacation after that, track your food, hit your protein. Try and make sure that you're mostly in a deficit. And then I would apply the same thing with your workouts. Maybe start off with 10 or 20-minute workouts and do that like 3 or 4 times a week. Then the next vacation, do like maybe 30-minute workouts, 40-minute workouts, and do it a little bit more frequently. So it's really just focusing on building confidence and trust within yourself that you can actually do it. Because if you make these small promises to yourself and you don't follow through with them, you lose trust, you lose confidence with yourself, making it so much harder to do it. Because when you try and take on way too much, like you're showing up so strong for everybody else, like you can't bring that same level of performance because you already have all your bandwidth and energy allocated to all these other areas. So things that you want to keep in mind. And then stage 3, set up visual cues for yourself and systems until it becomes routine and habitual. So for example, like put sticky notes around the house and set reminders in your phone if you forget to eat to prevent you from like binging when you get home after a long day. Because I know there's a lot of you guys that are like, you're always focusing on your work, your kids, your partner, and you're just drinking coffee throughout the entire day. Maybe you have like a muffin, maybe you have some toast, maybe you have a bite out of your kid's sandwich or something like that. And you don't really have any food for the most part throughout the entire day. Then you get home at the end of the day, go crush a bag of chips, anything that's super convenient out of the cupboard. Like it's makes it really difficult to be able to stay within your targets. Whereas if you have sticky notes or reminders to make sure that you're eating more frequently throughout the day, you're not going to be super ravenous and feel like you need to eat everything when you get home and you finally have time to relax. Set up a bunch, like if you struggle with getting your water in, set up a bunch of like sticky notes or put like a bunch of water bottles strategically placed like in your car, in your office, on your night table, like as many places as possible, just so you can see water bottles everywhere, just so you can stay on top of it. Download a water reminder app that reminds you to do it all the time. And remember, all these things aren't going to be something that you have to do for the rest of your life. It's until it becomes habitual. It's until it becomes a pattern. Like I've had sticky notes set up for different things for like saying affirmations to myself to talk to myself in a kinder way. And now I just naturally habitually do it every time I have a shower because I would do it basically every single day after I got out of the shower. So now I say it while I'm in the shower. I say it when I'm out of the shower and the sticky notes aren't even there anymore. So remember, it's like something that's going to be temporary. It's just a way of setting up visual cues to remind yourself to do it. And what I would also recommend for everybody is set up a schedule. And in the words of Jordan Peterson, if you don't have a schedule, get a damn schedule. Like make sure you have something like a planner, a Google Calendar on your phone. Like, and also if you have multiple schedules and calendars, like make sure you put them together. Like as soon as you have to go to multiple calendars and schedules, you're creating extra steps, extra places that you have to go to, and it's going to make it way more complicated and that much more difficult to take action on it. Then once you have that established, then I would block out time as a non-negotiable. So you have reminders, you have a visual cue and time already dedicated. So when you pull up your schedule, you see the workouts, you see the meal prep, you see that you have to eat, like block out time to eat throughout the day. Block out time to like drink water. Like it's just as simple as setting up a visual cue like that for yourself. I would even consider like getting like whatever that vision is that you're trying to create for yourself. Like if you're trying to get your health and fitness down, or like you want to be a mom that's toned, healthy, functional, like she's super healthy. She's able to carry in all those groceries at the same time, turning people's heads with a 2-piece in Mexico. Like whatever that looks like to you, I would even find like an image off Google Images and just look at it every single day. Like whenever you pull up your phone, that's the screensaver on your computer. Putting it on a vision board. So every time that you wake up, that's the first thing that you see. I seen Arnold Schwarzenegger with 2 medals. When I did my bodybuilding competition, I was constantly looking at Arnold every single day just to remind me to stay on track. And that will help create motivation and then cause you to focus on the things that are going to help you get to that goal. And I would also, like, if you're trying to get your workouts in, like I would lay your gym clothes out the night before. So like as soon as you wake up, they're already ready to go. You're not trying to figure out what you have to wear. Like you're eliminating a step ahead of time. And then I would even get all your workout gear. Like if you're working out at home, get like your bands or your weights or like whatever it is. Like get your pre-workout and like your supplements ready to go the night before. So as soon as you wake up, you can just dive right into it. If you have to go to the gym, put your gym keys, or not your gym keys, put your keys into your gym bag. So you have to take the keys out of the gym bag so you can get into your car. And that's just going to be like an automatic visual cue to be like, okay, like I need to make sure I go to the gym, put your gym bag into your car, like maybe ahead of time as well too. Anything that you can do to remind yourself. And I would even like prep your like healthy food in your house and get healthy snacks, like purge the junk food so it's out of sight, out of mind. I actually had to get my ex and my current girlfriend as well to just hide junk food away from me that she gets for her kids, just so I don't see it. Because as soon as I would see it, I would eat it. Like it was like the seafood diet. Whenever I see it, I eat it. So like if there's cookies, if there's like cinnamon rolls, if there's chips, like I'm gonna crush it. So I just tell her to just make sure it's out of sight, out of mind. And also for number 4, oh, we got Crystal, Robin, Kelly. What's going on, guys? So state number 4 is consider your bandwidth and your energy, not just the time that you have available. You technically have time to work out like on a Monday night after a long day, but would you realistically have the energy and bandwidth to do it? Like, would you be able to follow through with that on a consistent basis? like you could meal prep on a Friday, but you might want to just enjoy yourself after a really long week and take a load off. It might make it way more difficult to actually follow through with it. Working out in the morning could increase your chances of being consistent and doing it. Like a lot of our clients, they would try and work out after work. They would try and work out whenever they could fit it in, try and just fit it into their schedule. And then something else would come up. It would help mitigate anything else from potentially getting up and like later in the day. Like as a mom, I'm sure you guys have had just random shit thrown at you that's just ruined your entire evening plans. It's filling out the gap of the potential room for error that like something might come up. You might have like a really stressful day and something comes up that puts you into a bad headspace, makes it even more difficult to follow through with it. And like when you get home and you just want to relax, as soon as you like sit on the couch, it's like a trigger. Like as soon as you like have that stress relief, like all of a sudden the TV turns on. You got a glass of wine in your hand, you got some popcorn or some chips, and then like you trying to get yourself off the couch to go and do something afterwards, it's like you're paralyzed and you can't really do anything because like there's a big difference between active momentum and sedentary momentum. Where like when you're already working and you're crushing it, like it's a lot easier to hop right onto it. So like one of the things that I would do is if you're trying to work out after work, just do it immediately. Like go right to the grocery store, do the workout right afterwards. But what I recommend for our clients is putting their alarm clock across the room to force them to get up in the morning, making sure they have time for like a 20-minute workout. Because like it sets the tone for the rest of the day. It makes you more positive, more focused. And psychologically, if you get a little bit active and you focus on your health first thing in the morning, you're just gonna pay more attention to it for the rest of the day. Like I'm sure a lot of you guys, when you get a lot of water in first thing in the morning, notice that you drink more water throughout the day. Or when you get more active first thing in the morning, like you normally get a little bit more active throughout the day. You pay a little bit more attention to your health. So it's also just paying a little bit more attention to it, but also it's not dwelling on you for the rest of the day because you already got it out of the way. And then you already won that day. You started your day off with a win, you got it out of the way, you showed up for yourself, and that's a way of creating more consistency and not focusing on just your time, but your energy and your bandwidth as well. So like maybe focusing on prepping your food on Sunday instead of trying to like prep it and like trying to get all your shit together on Monday, trying to like prep for the week like last minute. Try and do it on a Saturday or a Sunday when you know that you're going to have the time to get that done. Also, stage or step number 5, don't reinvent the wheel. Like, especially with social media, we see tons of videos of people doing fancy workouts, getting protein meals that would take forever. You're even just seeing stuff that's super contradicting and confusing. Or maybe seeing somebody that has way more free time that's not like a super busy mom like you are, and you're like, oh, maybe I can follow through with that. Like, if you have already found a strategy that works for you and you were able to do it consistently, maybe you just fell off a little bit because you had like some family come visit, you went on vacation, you got sick, maybe something happened. Like I would even come back to beginnership and revisit those strategies that were already working for you. We have clients that have been with us for like 2, 3, 4 years at this point, and they'll get to a point where like sometimes they get a little bit complacent. They have some life stuff. They went on vacation. They're like trying all these new strategies, trying to get back on track. And as soon as we get them to go back to what was already working, that was simple, that was digestible, they were able to get right back on track with it because they already found a strategy that worked for them. It's not always about finding something brand new and having like shiny object syndrome. Sometimes it's just taking what already worked and maybe refining it, optimizing it, like making some small tweaks to get you back on track with it. Just apply the principles that we talked about, that we already talked about, just keeping it simple and digestible. Like if you're trying to revisit a strategy that you were doing before, don't go back to how you were when you were like crushing it 100%. Like I said, focus on small steps and build your way back up to how you were before. And number 6, give yourself grace. Like it takes a long time to create a permanent lifestyle change. Like it takes about 28 days to create a new routine, it takes about 58 something days to create a new habit. And that like our entire first phase of our program is just to build habits and systems and like setting up a lot of the things that we just talked about. And it takes about 16 to 18 months to create a permanent lifestyle change. Like it's probably gonna be 24 months until you feel like a totally different person in all aspects. So it's gonna be like a lot of learning. Like one of my philosophies is you either win or you learn. So you're either gonna learn from like a mistake or something that you ran into. As long as you're learning and you're progressing and you're growing, if you're 1% better every single day, you're gonna be 37 times better by the end of the year. So it's all about incremental wins and slowly moving in the right direction, celebrating those wins. Be really kind to yourself and acknowledge those wins. What I would even like suggest for like as like a bonus step is one of my mentors, he said that every day deserves about 10 minutes, each week deserves about 30 minutes, and each month deserves about an hour. And when I say this is like doing assessments. So like maybe like at the end of your evening, just assessing like, how did I actually do today? Did I do my workouts? Did I do what I set out to do? Not just with your health and fitness, but the other areas of your life. It just creates a lot more clarity and awareness. It's like tracking your food. It's just going to create awareness on what you're actually bringing into your body. And it's going to allow you to identify any areas of opportunity. And that's same for a week to week basis. Like spending like 30 minutes at the end of the week to like go through. It's like, how many workouts did I do this week? Like, did I follow through with like the stretching, or like maybe you wanted to go swimming, or like go out for like X amount of walks with your kids, or make sure that you hit your nutrition like 80% that week. It's like, how much did you actually do? And like, where are some areas of opportunity? What are some roadblocks that you ran into? So you can create more clarity on how you can plan ahead of time for the next week. Like that would actually be like step number 7, is like thinking about how can you make like Victoria's life a little bit easier in the future? How can you make Crystal's life a little bit easier? If you can focus on future you're going to make it's so much easier to follow through with it. It's like prepping your nutrition ahead of time. Like a lot of people will try and make their dinner the day of, and if they have something really stressful or something that just like puts them into a bad headspace, try to cook like a dinner for all of your family at the end of a long day. You're probably going to order DoorDash. You're going to eat chips out of the cupboard. So like prepping your food ahead of time, like even just a day or two, like, or even just like prepping half the day would even make it a lot easier. Maybe just prepping like the main ingredients, like just prepping like a couple of proteins, like just getting like stuff as much as you possibly can ahead of time. There's this guy named Chase Hughes. He's a professional interrogator. He's actually like worked for like a bunch of the CIA people. And like one of the things that he talks about when it comes to creating like confidence within yourself is focusing on it, even just the smallest things of making future you's life a little bit easier. One of the things that he does is he actually gets his Keurig and gets like the little pod, fills it up with water, puts the pod in there. So all he has to do when he wakes up is just push it down and press the button. And he's like, Chase is gonna fucking love this shit tomorrow. And he'll like talk to himself like that. Or it's just like when you prep your food and get all your stuff ready for the next day, you're like, you know what? Alex is gonna freaking love this shit tomorrow. He's gonna be able to crush his nutrition. It's gonna be super easy for him. And it's like focusing on delayed gratification versus what you want right now, and you want to start thinking about what's going to serve that greater version of yourself. That's also why we talked about visualizing, having like a vision board of what you're trying to create for yourself. What's going to serve that person? What's not serving that person? Is it kind of just winging it and like just hoping shit's going to work out and just relying on your ability to remember to do things? Maybe it's having a schedule so you can like dedicate your time and like be able to set up visual cues. Or maybe it's like getting rid of all the junk food in your house, because like that's not going to serve you. It's going to deplete your energy. It's not going to make you feel good. It's not going to help the rest of the family. And also, if it's in the house, the likelihood of you falling off is going to be increased. So it's like also like designing your environment, the people that you're spending your time with, making sure you're doing it in like a small, incremental, digestible way, so that way you can slowly build your way up where it becomes a permanent lifestyle change, where it actually becomes habitual. I really hope this was helpful for a lot of you guys. I think maybe even just coming back and rewatching some of this just to go through it, because it's the first time that you heard it. And don't try and take everything that we just talked about. Like, I'll take actionable notes. Remember, knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is power. So taking exactly what I just talked about, focus on digestible small steps. Like, what's a small action step that you can take as soon as you get off this call? What's some imperfect action? Because it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to line up. It's not going to go the way that you want it to. What's something you can do after this call? Maybe setting a reminder for tomorrow to like make sure that you eat. Maybe it's like setting up some water bottles so that we can stay on top of your water intake. Like focus on some incremental steps. Like if you have 10 things that you're like, oh, I'm going to do all these things, Alex, like I'll take the top 3 things and cross out the rest of them and put them into a drawer somewhere. And then like once you get those 3 done, you got those down a little bit more consistently, then focus on the other things. And if you guys need any help and you wanted to just like dive into this specifically for you, because like everybody's going to be a little bit different. Everybody's got a different lifestyle with a different at-home situation. And we are offering like free strategy calls for people, even if it's just 15 minutes, because I'm here to serve. I want to help you guys as much as I possibly can. But I really hope this was more sticky notes. Definitely, Rebecca. Love it. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I would actually love to like leave this open a little bit too. If you guys had any questions or anything, just feel free to put them in the comments and I'll come and like answer you, send you a private DM, and I'll be more than happy even just to provide some guides to you guys as well too. We just finally created the guide for being able to prep for your family and make it so it's family friendly, but also be in line with weight loss at the same time. So that we have a little bit more guidance and different like keys that you want to pay attention to. So even on this post, like comment recipes and I can shoot it over to you. You can like send me a message. More than happy to shoot that over to you guys. But yeah, let's freaking end this week strong. I'll talk to you guys soon.